Hey Gemini, how's it going? Well, we've got quite a month ahead of us, don't we? Wow. I've got your forecast right here, and I'm going to explain it in detail in just a second. Want to give you a little heads up about a couple of things that I think you might be interested in. Some of you have taken advantage of my offer of a free copy of your actual birth chart. And I'm still offering that. I probably always will. And you have asked, well, how do I interpret it? Okay, great question. My book, now that I've cast it, what do I do with it? This is a cheap plug for my book, yes. It's a great book. It'll help you think. The best book you have is the one between your ears, and it will help you learn how to interpret a chart so that you can express the astrologer within you. Now, this month, July, we've got two eclipses and a retrograde Mercury. You're going to want to take advantage of my summer eclipse special, which goes from July till the end of the year. Uh, Very, very important that between now and the end of 2020, you have your own forecast in front of you so that you know when to zig, when to zag, etc. The special covers 4 eclipses, 2 Mercury retrogrades, 6 full moons, and the regular transits, the heavy transits. Um, I certainly hope that you have ordered it. If not, it is available through the month of July. Then the third thing I want to mention, my full moon ceremony. Everybody is invited to my full moon ceremony. It's going to be on July 16th here in Atlanta, of course, at the Phoenix and Dragon bookstore um, at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I mention that to you because many of you from around the world are attending um, energetically. All you have to do is convert your time zone to its equivalent in Eastern Standard Time, and just drop down and tune into the energy. A lot of people have told me they've done that, and it is just always a remarkable, beautiful group. And everybody leaves there feeling much, much better because the people who come are remarkable, and you are remarkable. So I hope you'll join us. Okay, let's talk about what all is going on. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, we already know we got 2 eclipses, and I'm going to explain them to you. And we've got a retrograde Mercury. And by the way, if you have not yet watched my video, my YouTube video, Mercury retrograde, the prequel and the sequel, you might want to do that because I talk about the shadow of the retrograde Mercury, the pre-retrograde shadow, and the after retrograde, after direct shadow. And I'll explain why as I go through this. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on in your chart, your solar chart. Let's start with the sun, the yellow planet. It's in the second house of money. I could stop right there. You've been creating more income, more gifts, and I know that, Gemini, we've had our birthday already, but there's more income for you, more assets for you. On the 22nd of the month, the sun moves into the 3rd house, and it's in our natural house, which means more talking, more communicating with other people. It's just a terrific time. The problem is that we get bored so easily, Gemini, don't we? And so that 3rd house is active with Mars and Venus and Mercury and the sun. And so plan short little tasks that keep you active and happy and not bored. Okay. I would suggest that with Mercury retrograde, and I'm going to go to Mercury in a second, If you have started writing a book that you put up in the corner, this might be a time to finish it up, particularly since the sun will be in your third house of communication. Otherwise, just get on a plane and go somewhere and have a terrific time. You know what I mean? Let's talk about retrograde Mercury. Um, Mercury rules communication, correspondence, and transportation, our mouth and our minds. When it goes retrograde, it appears to be moving backwards in the heavens. It's not, but it looks that way and it feels that way. Everything is confused. So you don't want to start any new projects while Mercury is retrograde. Now, the shadow of the retrograde is 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after it goes direct. It's a long time. My suggestion is that if you are not experiencing symptoms of the pre-retrograde shadow or the after direct shadow, then go ahead and put that new project into operation, making sure you cross those T's and dot those I's. So Mercury starts here in your third house of all kind of ideas, and it's terrific. Oh, great career ideas, wonderful, blah, 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 blah. On the 18th, it backs into your second house, and you're re-examining everything about money and values and all that good stuff. And on the 31st of July, 1st of August, between those 2 days, that's when Mercury goes direct. After that, you should have more clarity, certainly after 2 more weeks when Mercury is out of the shadow of the retrograde. So these two areas, second and third house, money and values and ideas and communication, can be a little bit unsettled. However, we got some great help. First of all, Venus, the planet, the pink planet of love and money. It is in your first house. So you're loving yourself. You've been loving yourself. You've been looking good. And on the third, it moves into your second house of money and values and gifts and all kind of beautiful things. And so you can create more money, more gifts, more tangible assets. I know Mercury's retrograde and things are weird, but Venus is still in that second house. And on the 22nd, it moves into your third, and you see life through happy eyes. Great time to talk to people, great time to travel, etc. Now, Mars is in that third house all month. And what that means is you want to express your ideas. You want to get going now. Third house with Mars, you got to be busy. You can't just sit still. It'll drive you crazy. So make sure that you have lots of little projects, including getting in the car and going somewhere. You don't mind traveling. And if you can't travel, talk to people, get online with them, pick up the phone. In other words, use all of your communicative skills, and it'll keep you from being bored. Now let's talk about the eclipses. We feel the effects of an eclipse at least a week before it occurs, and until the next pair come along, which are usually several months later. They're at their peak 3 to 4 months after they occur. We got 2 of them. The first one is July 2nd in our house of money. Okay. It's a solar eclipse. That means new start. You can plan your finances. And I say plan because Mercury is retrograde, and you want to plan your projects, not begin them on the retrograde Mercury. But remember, 3 to 4 months later, that eclipse bears fruit. Okay. So lots of ideas about money, lots of ways of creating money. I love it. On the 16th, we have the full moon, the lunar eclipse. That's when things come to a head. In our 8th house, I say our because in case you haven't figured it out, I'm a Gemini. See my hands? Can't talk without moving them. On the 16th, that eclipse is in our 8th house of magic, of transformation, of helping other people create more money, which bears fruit for us, of course. So we've got financial eclipses. We have value eclipses. The eighth house is the house of symbolic death and rebirth. It's also the psychic arena. And with this eclipse in the eighth house, if you have held back on your psychic ability, if you've squelched it, if you have put a bushel basket over your light, time to reinvent you and go for it. And then the new moon is on July 31st in that third house of ideas, and you are ready to put them into action. However, keep in mind, on the 31st, Mercury goes direct, which is terrific, between the 31st and August 1st. And we have a new moon right at that time. And so you're ready to get going. You're ready to jump into it. Remember the shadow of the retrograde. Another heads up. On July 8th, right when Mercury goes retrograde, it goes retrograde in 4 Leo. Find 4 Leo in your chart. That's where it starts. Mars is in 4 Leo on that very same day. Mars is anger. It's war. It's impatience. Mercury is communication. This is a time when you might be vulnerable, when all of us might be vulnerable to arguments. I'm thinking of our country's leaders. They are going to be vulnerable. So see them in light, okay? And keep in mind that on the 31st, between the 31st of July and the 1st of August, on that new moon, Mercury comes out of retrograde and we start moving forward again. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. And I hope that you'll join me again next month when, once again, I share your forecast with you. Until then, may the stars shine brightly on you and yours. Bye for now.